Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and Merry Christmas to you all. We are here at the Daytona International Speedway for the last special event of 2020. This is the 2020 Christmas Eve 500, a joint event with the NOFSRL and NIRA, and of course I am joined alongside Nathan Stapleton for the call of tonight's event here on Christmas Eve. And Nathan, the big story coming into this race is how many new drivers are in the field. And obviously, if you've seen a lot of the special events on AG Racing on Napa Fan, you know that those first-timers tend to do very well in these special events. But they've never raced before. How are they going to manage this race here on the high banks of Daytona for 60 laps here tonight in the Christmas Eve 500?
All they can do is survive the carnage. It's 60 laps, the longest race on a super speedway for both leagues. So none of these drivers that are racing for the first time ever know what to expect. It's probably about over a quarter of the field making the first time start here tonight. So a lot of inexperience. And it's going to be a wild one to see if these rookies can steal one from one of these veterans, or if one of these veterans can pick up a win here in this special event. And it's going to be interesting to see if Coutinho can get his third win in this event, or if Wyatt Quayle can somehow go back-to-back once again.
Yeah, there have only been 3 different winners of this event. Of course, I was mentioning to Nathan before we started recording that this event has actually been run under 4 different leagues, technically. It started as an NRLOA event back in the day, of course, and when I moved over to the NOFSRL, I took it with me. And the first year we did this as a joint event, Nathan was in TRN, and TRN, you know, a huge shout out there to Andrew. He's going to officially be sending it off, or actually I think given that he's feeling better, he officially sent that off last night. But tonight, it's NIRA and NOFSRL, so 4 different leagues have essentially represented this race. So it's been all over the place. But one constant is I've been calling the race for all of them. So glad to be back and doing this race once again. And like I mentioned, there's only been 3 different winners of this race in the past. There's Caleb Hoffman, who won the first one in 2016, and then we had Colton Yeo win back-to-back in 16 and 17, and then last year, or should I say 17 and 18, and then last year Wyatt Quayle won in 2019. Wyatt Quayle and Colton Yeo are both in this race here tonight. We'll have to see if either of them can go to victory lane in this 60-lap race at Daytona. Of course, since it's a 60-lap race, we're going to have pit stops here in this one, so that'll play out things a little bit differently. This race plays out a lot differently than a lot of other Daytona races on Napa Fan, and because of that, the strategy is going to play out a little bit differently. And of course, one thing that is going to be the same, if we get a wreck, we get those slow cars, lap traffic will definitely come into play here in this event. But either way, we got 20 cars representing each team. It's not a battle race, it's essentially just a joint event, but cars 00 to 23 are the NOFSRL cars, and then cars 24 through 96 are the NIRA cars. And a huge thank you to Hair Joe Larvin Alonso for painting this car set. Of course, he painted it a few years ago, but a huge thank you to him for painting it. I think we're the only league that has ever used this car set before, and we're glad to help Perez out with his paint schemes, or showcase his paint schemes, I should say, for this event. But either way, it's a 60-lap race here today at the Daytona International Speedway for the Christmas Eve 500, and we got ourselves 40 drivers in the field for this race. I gotta ask you, Nathan, who do you think is the strongest driver on your team, just from the 20 cars in Team NRA, and then I'll give who I think is the strongest guy on Team NOFSRL.
Well, it's kind of hard for me to pick just one. There's probably 5 assists that are really good. But I think probably the top 2 favorites for Team NIRA are probably Wyatt Quayle for being the defending winner and being very consistent in the Red Bull Cup Series playoffs so far. But another driver is Allison Rain. Very great driver in the NIRA. Fresh off of a win in the playoffs at Indianapolis like a month ago. So she doesn't have to worry about the Cup Series right now. She can just focus on this event here tonight. And in my opinion, I think those are the 2 big drivers for Team NIRA here tonight.
Yeah, definitely a couple of very strong drivers on your team. And over on the NOFSRL side, we got a few guys who have definitely shown a lot of promise in 2020. In particular, Keegan Thompson, who's in the number 18, won the 1,000th race on Napa Fan back in October. So he's got that special event touch. But we also got Stuart Gratton on our side as well. And Gratton is a guy who has been racing for a very long time on Napa Fan, the most experienced driver in this race by far. So we'll have to see what he can do. But obviously, Colton, two-time winner of this race, also on Team NOFSRL in the number 12 machine. Watch out for those three in particular for our organization. But it is just one race, so all these guys are essentially going for the win. They're not really battling for the team. There are no team points at the end. Didn't ever want this to be a battle race, just a joint event between the two leagues. Because hey, Nathan's my good friend, and we like calling races together. But either way, we'll get this race started. Been talking long enough here. Christmas Eve is upon us, and we're here at Daytona for 60 laps. And like Nathan mentioned, Allison Rain on the pole position in the number 34, alongside her the number 66 machine of Quentin Moore. A couple of NIRA drivers right there, and then a couple of NOFSRL drivers behind them. Ethan Lewis in the number 4 to the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. This is Crown Jr.'s first career Napa Fan start. Row number 3, we got the 42 machine of DJ Reed to the inside of the 19 of Matt Tuck. I believe this is DJ Reed's first career Napa Fan start as well. Number 88 machine there of Stephen Cullen to the inside of the 62 of Brendan Andrews. And if I'm not mistaken, Brendan Andrews is making his first start on both of our channels here tonight. Number 1 machine of Owen Miles to the inside of Dale Lightning in row number 5. Then we have the number 11 of Braden Perez and the 48 machine of Ethan Farley, rounding out the top 12 starting positions here at Daytona. Looks like everybody's rolling off just fine. It is a much younger field, a lot more newer drivers in this race than there have been in years past. Nathan, who do you think is going to go to victory lane here tonight in the 2020 Christmas Eve 500?
Well, anything can and probably will happen. We might see cars flying into the air, but you'll see lap traffic get into the way. Anyone has a shot, but I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that the guy that helped me do signups while I was sick a couple weeks ago, I think DJ Reed will get the job done under the lights at Daytona.
We'll have to see what he can do. We'll have to see what everyone does in this race. It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to go ahead and say that Allison Rain's going to go from pole to the race victory here tonight in the Christmas Eve 500. But that's a difficult task to do, especially with 60 laps on the line, so we'll have to see what she can do from that pole position. But either way, we're ready to get this one started. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody! We're Green Flag Racing in the 2020 Christmas Eve 500! We got a battle coming to the line right here. Quentin Moore, DJ Reed, and it's going to be Moore at the line for lap number 1 led here in the Christmas Eve 500. But you must have known something there when DJ Reed moved to the inside right there. And your pick to win looking pretty strong early on here at Daytona. Another NIRA guy right behind him. That's the 88 of Stephen Cullen. So NIRA top 4 positions right now. You guys definitely seem to know what you guys are doing here at Daytona.
Yeah, top 4 team in NIRA. But right now, that top side is moving with 2 best friends, Allison Rain and Quentin Moore. And the 34 helped Moore get a 1 on the top side and take the race lead. But these guys, they are 3 wide, and that would be okay. That would be fine. But if they go 4 wide, that's when death will happen. But we have to wait and see on how aggressive they will get early on, in the middle, and towards the end of this race here at Daytona.
You know, we expect maybe around a 24-lap fuel window in this race, so if they get to that cycle of pit stops without wrecking, there's a good chance this race could go caution-free. But this is Daytona, so odds are this race won't go caution-free. Another thing to mention, too, and we talked about this new package, per se, when we had Speed Weeks in the NOFSRL last year, but we're running that same package here, so passing is going to be a little bit more difficult than it has been in the past. The main thing we did was we put a range in the ratings of these cars. Instead of every car having the same number, same specific number in the aspect for the ratings, each car has a range in the ratings from 50 to 65, with the exception of aggression, which is 100-100, as always. And that allowed for these guys to kind of stay in their respective positions and not cycle through the field. So that's why you've seen Quentin Moore lead every lap so far here in this Christmas Eve 500, and he continues to lead here at Daytona.
That 66 machine looks to have the fastest car on the racetrack. But DJ Reed, he also seems to be fast, because every time Stephen Cohen keeps on getting to the bottom and to the inside of that 42, the 42 and the 34 just get such a good one on that top side, and they just zoom on by. And that's the tricky thing about Daytona. There's so many different lanes, and sometimes the inside lane is the lane to go, and sometimes the top side is the way to go. But right now, no one can stop Quentin Moore out front here at Daytona.
I will say Allison Ray doing a great job there in the outside lane to the outside of DJ Reed and Stephen Colin. Still the same top four as it was essentially when we started this race. But Rain, she ended up getting shuffled to the middle lane at the start of the race, but she found her way to the outside, and now she's running in the second position with DJ Reed to the inside of her right there. So she's doing a great job in the number 34 machine. And he got another contender up here. A couple more contenders in the NOFSRL. That's Ethan Lewis in the 4, Angel Olvera in the 10, and the number 20 machine there of Roberto Crown Jr. His first ever Napa fam start here tonight. Number 1 machine of Owen Miles back in there. Matt Tuck is there as well. And also the 11 machine up here with Braden Perez. So a lot of NOFSRL guys right behind those 4 NRA guys up front. Gotta be careful here. If we get a 4-wide situation, definitely want to keep our eyes on that, because more likely than not, if they go 4-wide in this race, they're not going to make it out alive. But go through a few other guys in this race that we've yet to mention. 24 machine here, that's Bronson Minnick, right in the middle of the field right there. 78 to the inside of him, that is Samit Ozkin, who, even though he's on Team NRA, won 3 races in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series over the summer, so did an excellent job over there. He'll be returning to Type 3 Motorsports this coming season in 2021. Number 48 machine, that is Ethan Farley, made his first career Napa fan start in the Thanksgiving 500, running pretty strong right now. Got the number 9 machine on the inside, Landon Smith Jr., and his brother, Trey Smith, on Team NIRA in the number 41 machine. Got the number 6 here of Ace Garcia. Just ahead of him, it's the 72 of Nolan Lawrence. And then we got the number 3 machine in the middle of all this with Ryan Durrani. 43 machine there of Louis Sankala. 96 is there, Mitchell Collins. There's the 18 of Keegan Thompson right in the middle. 22 machine is John Andrews. We mentioned the 41 there of Trey Smith. 23 machine is Trey Wright, who made the NIRA logo, as Nathan mentioned to me earlier. 32 machine up there, that is Brandon Beal. We got the 37 machine of Wyatt Quayle, defending race winner of the Christmas Eve 500. Number 2 of Stuart Cradden on the outside back in there, Colton Yo in the 12. Number 14 machine is Aiden McCrow. 15 machine is Barry Preston. 00, that car is driven by Caleb Rose. This is his first career Napa fam start. Same with Barry Preston as well in the 15. Cole Raymond in the 51, number 17 machine of Logan Williams, 38 machine of Tyler Autry, 21 machine is driven by Bobby Frazier, and then we got the 92 and 31 driven by Daniel Bouchard and Scott Upton, respectively. I think I got through everybody right there, but we wanted to make sure we mention everyone in the field before the end of this race, especially before we end up with a wreck, because lots of times those wrecks take out a lot of guys that we never get to mention throughout the entire event, and we don't want that to be the case here tonight at Daytona. But Nathan, I'll let you do some talking here. How about Quentin Moore and that number 66, almost leading a 6th of the event? If he leads the next lap around, he'll lead the first 6th of this event here at Daytona.
Quentin Moore, he is just on a Christmas Eve night drive right now. He is unstoppable, and pretty much from second on back, It's been mostly the same the entire race so far, and if this keeps it up, I don't know if anyone will have anything for those top 3 positions. But we're only 10 laps in officially here at Daytona. Still 50 laps to go. Probably 2 pit stops, and anything can and will happen. But right now it is Team NIRA 1, 2, 3, 4, and Quentin Moore looking awfully strong. But DJ Reed, he keeps on trying to get that middle lane to work, trying to get past the 34 of Allison Rain, but he just can't on that middle lane.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of difficulty there. And I think a big problem is, you know, side drafting is coming into play as we got a bit of moving going on right there. Angel Olvera to the inside of the 1, but they're going to keep it together right there. That was Owen Miles and Angel Olvera who almost got into a 4-wide situation. The 11 machine had an opportunity, Braden Perez, and there's a big gap right there. That middle lane does not have much help anymore. It's definitely shuffling around quite a bit. 23, Trey right in the middle, all by himself in the sucker hole. We don't really see the sucker hole too much at the Speedway Physics version of Daytona because usually we have 3 lanes of equal traffic here, and that's what's going on up front. But Trey Wright didn't have any help in the middle lane back in there, and he fell back quite a bit. One thing I've noticed is that Quentin Moore has been able to have a bit of a buffer between him and second place. He's got a bit of a gap right there between him and Allison Rain and DJ Reed behind him, compared to a lot of these other guys. And like I was about to say, that side drafting is coming into effect a little bit. That 42 and 34 machine, I believe, might be slowing each other down just a little bit by going side by side and allowing Quentin Moore to be single file for this race lead here at Daytona.
Very true. Side drafting playing into a big factor for second all the way through the field, and because of that, Quentin Moore keeps on having about a calling from the half gap over the rest of the field. But Stephen Cohen, he's had enough of this. He wants to get something to work on this inside lane in that number 88, and he has help from the number 10 of Angel Olvera. And now for the first time always long, DJ Reed has gotten past the 34. And now we can actually see if DJ Reed has anything for Quentin Moore, or if Quentin Moore just has the fastest car on the racetrack, period.
Yeah, and this is where the pit stops are definitely going to come into play for this race, because it almost seems like Quentin Moore has the best car, but you're going to get through a couple of pit stops, and it's not going to be easy to hold on to the lead throughout all of that. Top 3 single file here. That outside lane very strong, and Allison Ring going to try to get back to the inside of DJ Reed for second right there, so looks like Quentin Moore is going to stay out front for a while here, but 14 straight laps out front here for Quentin Moore in the 66 machine. Now you got a new face up front here. That's the 20 machine of Roberto Crown Jr., and he has had a solid effort here tonight. And the number 20 machine had a great starting position in the random draw. He's got Matt Tuck right behind him, and I know Matt Tuck would love to get a race victory because he's not had too much luck as a driver. As an owner, he's been very good, owning Velocitar Racing in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, but as a driver, hasn't been all peaches and cream for Matt Tuck. There goes DJ Reed. He's got a run to the inside of Quentin Moore, and this may be the opportunity to dethrone the 66 from the top position. Side by side on lap 15. It's still going to be Moore at the line. Now you got Crown Jr. and Matt Tuck on the outside lane trying to pass the 34, I should say, of Allison Rain there on the inside lane, but when I close back into the 66, this is going to get interesting because DJ Reed's going to have some help there from the 88 and the 11 behind him.
This is something that we have not seen all race long. The 66 being challenged from all angles, but Joker's racing teammates and Team NOFSRL teammates trying to make that top side work and invade on the top 4 NIRA brigade. And they're trying to do that, and they are doing it so far here at Daytona, but Quentin Moore still out front on that number 17. But here's the thing. Quentin Moore might have the best car, might have the best equipment, but will he have the best pit crew? Because with there being 2 pit stops, it could come down to who has the best pit crew and who has the worst pit crew.
Yeah, it definitely could, and he's back in that single file line. DJ Reed now getting swarmed here by Roberto Crown Jr. in the 20 machine. Definitely a lot of shuffling going on back for second, but Quentin Moore looking to lead the first third as in the back of the field, number 72, almost opened the door for the 98, or should I say 96 to get to the inside. Thankfully, they kept it together. They've kept a clean race so far. We'll have to see if they can keep that. And all 40 drivers who started this event are within 1.16 seconds of each other. So they're all on each other here. Stephen Cohen going to move to the inside there for second on DJ Reed as Reed gets a run to the outside and clears Roberto Crown Jr. We'll have to see if DJ Reed has another opportunity here on Quentin Moore for the race lead. This is a lot different than the cycle racing that we've seen, as the 78 goes way up the racetrack in the Roberto Crown Jr., and there's your big accident. Lap 18 here at Daytona. Allison Reigns around the 78 of Sam and Oskin. Hard hit for him. The 3 machine, the 00 of Caleb Rose, and the 17 of Logan Williams caught up in the back of the field. Mitchell Collins in the 96 as well. Colton Yo caught up in the back of the field. Trey Smith, Stuart Gratton. There were a lot more guys caught up in this one than what we initially saw. And it was bound to happen, I should say, here at Daytona. And it did right there about a third of the way through the race here in the Christmas Eve 500. Got the 31 machine. He is all torn up. That is Scott Upton. Barry Preston in the 15 also caught up in that one with a lot of damage. That's the number 1 of Owen Miles. 48 machine also with heavy damage. That is Ethan Farley. And the 32 as well of Brandon Beal got caught up in that one. Now's the opportunity for these guys to come down the pit lane, even though it doesn't look like everyone's going to take the opportunity, interestingly enough. You guys staying out here. A little bit of strategy play. It's a 72 of Nolan Lawrence, 62 machine of Brendan Andrews, and it's all the 38 there of Tyler Autry staying out. So 3 guys who are making their first ever starts on both of our channels staying out here. Maybe they're just letting the veterans kind of get out in front and follow them along a little bit more. But now's the opportunity. As a matter of fact, right there, it will not be a clean sweep for Quentin Moore in this race because the 72 officially led lap number 19. A tough break for Allison Reigns. She started up front. She had a great opportunity of winning this race. And also Roberto Crown Jr. in the 20. Both of those drivers were up front. And they're going to have to repair some damage, and they may not be able to contend with the rest of the field after this one. But a tough break for those guys. A huge accident on lap number 18 here at Daytona.
A lot of guys taken out in this one. A lot of good drivers as well that were up front always long. I think I saw the 20 car get on his side as well off of turn number 4. So a lot of torn up race cars. I believe I saw the 95 with Noah Clifton get involved. He was slow. Of course, the 48 of Ethan Farley, the newest member of the NIRA, he unfortunately was involved. The list is too big to mention everyone right now. But it's probably at least half the field torn up in the first big one of the night. Now,
that could end up being the only accident we had, because that's going to take out a lot of guys. Would imagine that the 72-38 here, they're going to be coming down the pit lane here shortly. Because they're definitely going to have to make another stop in this race. Or make a stop in this race, I should say. That was definitely an unfortunate accident. And the 78 of Sam and Oskin was the one who moved up. And Oskin is a rather seasoned veteran to racing in NR 2003. And with all these rookies in the field, a little interesting to see him pull that move there. But we'll have to go back and really see what happened. A lot of guys, the 62 machine, I think he ran out of gas. And if he ran out of fuel, I'd be a little bit concerned about the 72 as well. Not entirely sure what those guys are doing staying out there, but more than likely it'll be Quentin Moore taking the lead again in the 66. So with that in mind, we're a third of the way through the Christmas Eve 500. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution of the night here at Daytona. Big accident on lap number 18. Going to take out a good chunk of the field here in the 2020 Christmas Eve 500. And this is what happened right here, and Sam and Oskin moved up, and I don't know if this was in reaction to anybody coming down or not. It really doesn't look like it was. because no one came down. No one was ever going below the yellow line to come down the pit lane, and you see everyone get caught up right here. Such a massive accident. Killing my frame rate right there. That's Roberto Crown Jr. Such a great opportunity of winning this race on his side. Same with Allison Rain. Both of those drivers were up front for that entire green flag run. Angel Oliveira caught up, and then back in here, Grattan got into the 51 machine of Cole Raymond, and then Trey Wright runs into Ethan Farley, and the huge stack up right here of Trey Smith there. Two-time winner Colton Yo, 31 of Scott Upton also caught up. Last winner of this race, Wyatt Quayle, in the 37 was caught up a little bit in the 15 of Barry Preston. Then farther up ahead, that's where we saw Sam Oskin end up with the 00 of Caleb Rose and the 17 of Logan Williams. And Allison Rain caught up in that one as well with Mitchell Collins in the 96. Number 1 of Owen Miles also got some sort of damage in the 1 machine. Tough break for all those guys involved. 4 of Ethan Lewis also got caught up. We had more guys farther up ahead. And the 9 machine as well, Landon Smith Jr. So many guys got some sort of piece of this one. And that's what happens when you have that 4 wide happen as far up through the field as it was in this wreck. 24 machine also caught up. Bronson Minnick. Quentin Moore still leading this field. Even though we did have a couple guys stay out, they all did come down the pit lane. So we'll have to see how that shakes out as the race plays along. 92, Daniel Bouchard also caught up in that one as well. We're going to do a real time to go on board with somebody here at Daytona.
Looking at this full speed, looks like the 13 of Nathan Smith moved the 78 of Oskin up the racetrack, and all heck broke loose after that. The 20 went upside down, and then the 78 and everyone else that was involved came back up the racetrack, had a pile up behind these guys, and then up ahead there was a pile up. Again with the 78 and multiple other drivers. There's over half the field involved, even Foley, Sam Oskin, the 92, the 1. So many drivers, so many good chances for so many good drivers here in the Christmas Eve 500. And unfortunately they get torn up in the big one at Daytona. So many great drivers involved, but for one guy that was not involved that has been dominating this race up to this point has been none other than Quentin Moore in the number 66 machine. He will lead us back to the green on the restart, and let's go ahead and get back to the restart here at Daytona.
Right after we do an onboard with somebody here, we're going to do an onboard with someone who was kind of back behind this, so they get to see quite a bit of it. Maybe the 00 here of Caleb Rose. We'll figure out who it's going to be here, and we'll see that, and then we'll get to the restart here in the Christmas Eve 500. On board, the 00 of Caleb Rose for this accident. You're going to see Sam House can move up there ahead of him. And you'll see a lot of smoke shortly after. Almost thought he was going to get away with it, and Oskin came up, and lots of hard hits there on the 00 machine. I'm going to go through all the guys who are out of the race when we come back. Quentin Moore, your race leader here at Daytona. Let's get to the restart on the Christmas Eve 500 at Daytona. And we are back here at Daytona after that wild accident. The 72 did, in fact, come back down the pit lane, and he will go to the 25th position. Nolan Lawrence there in that car, but he is still on the lead lap as he gets back out onto the racetrack right there. A lot of guys, multiple laps down, meaning they're out of the race. In particular, the 00 of Caleb Rose, the 17 of Landon Smith, or should I say not Landon Smith Jr., but Logan Williams, 51 machine of Cole Raymond, 23 machine of Trey Wright, 92 machine of Daniel Bouchard, 31 machine of Scott Upton, the 12 of Colton Yo, and the 2 of Stuart Grattan. All out of the race, and if I'm not mistaken, everyone one lap down are also out of the race, including Ethan Lewis, Ethan Farley, 24 machine of Bronson Minnick, and the 78 of Sam Oskin with the 1 of Owen Miles. So that will leave, as the 62, I believe, is a lap down. I think he would have gotten back out there because I think he just ran out of fuel. Nope, looks like the 62 is also out of the race. That is the 62 machine of Brandon Andrews, and he is also going to be out of the race. So at least 26 drivers on the lead lap still in the race. That knocked out 14 guys. As for the race lead, for the first time tonight, it looks like somebody other than Quentin Moore is going to take it away. DJ Reed to the point on lap 23.
The fun fact is, I think Team NIRA has led every single lap. Quentin Moore, obviously, before the caution flag flew, and then the 72 led a couple of laps during that caution, and then pitted, and that gave Quentin Moore the race lead back. But on this restart, DJ Reed takes the race lead away from him, and now here comes the 11, trying to make a charge for the race lead of Braden Perez with Team NOFSRL.
Yeah, John Andrews up here as well. The number 14 machine there of Aiden McCrow up here. Noah Clifton in the 95. A lot of different faces up in this lead pack now after that big accident, and they shuffle on the pit lane. Keegan Thompson up here in the 18. 43 machine of Louis Ankela also with a shot. 13 machine of Nathan Smith is up here. And, of course, the 88 of Stephen Colin has been up front for a majority of this event. And how about the 47 machine of Dale Lightning, also in contention. 6 machine of Ace Garcia. 21 machine of Bobby Fraser. And the 3 machine of Ryan Durrani. All in this lead pack. Everybody else way off the pace, including Wyatt Quayle there and the number 15 of Barry Preston. These guys I don't think are off the pace too much, but I think they got held up there by the 96, and we're going to have a few lap cars that are going to get in the way of this lead pack here in this Christmas Eve 500. I think it was a lot like this last year, where we had a wreck early on, and then we ended up with a small pack like this to finish the race out. Looks like that might be what it ends up being here today, as DJ Reed leads the race in the number 42, got back around the 11 machine of Braden Perez. So it's Perez and DJ Reed battling for the race lead here at Daytona on lap number 26.
And here's the thing, because we had that caution early on in the race on lap 18, took out a lot of people, and now that we have lap traffic, there's still going to be one more round of pit stops, I'm pretty sure, in the second half of the race. So with pit stops and lap traffic, this is going to be the biggest this pack is for the rest of this race here at Daytona. So if you want to make the moves now, make them. If you want to get up to the front and set yourselves up for pit stops and for the end of the race, do it now, because this is the best time that you have for the rest of the race.
Yeah, and these guys still have to make one more pit stop in this event, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out with these guys. But everyone in this lead pack has an opportunity of winning this race, and I think it helps that there's a smaller pack right now. I think it makes it a little bit easier for a few of these guys to get up to the front, so not mired back in lap traffic near as much as they were earlier on. It wasn't lap traffic earlier on, but they were still mired back in traffic earlier on when we had all 40 cars still on the racetrack. So we're going to see how it all goes down. Number 11 machine of Braden Perez still in a battle of DJ Reed. A couple other guys up here who have a good shot, including that 22 machine of John Andrews. Now, I mentioned how Stuart Cratton's one of the longest-running drivers, in this race, but John Andrews has been around for just about as long as Gratton, and here he is running in the 3rd position. He could be a guy to watch out for this race victory. There goes the 43 machine, though. He's going to make it 3 wide. Louis Ankela has been in the Truck Series, the Turkey Hill Truck Series this season. He's going to have 3 wide to the inside for 3rd on the 22 and the 66 machine.
And for that driver, this is actually his first time doing a mid-highway race, since this is a co-league event. So it's going to be interesting of how he starts his NIRA career, knowing of how well he's been doing in the Turkey Hill Truck Series this season. But he's on this inside lane from help from the 18 of Keegan Thompson, who won the 1,000th race on Napa Fan, which I called that one. Wouldn't this be something for Keegan Thompson to win 2 special events?
Because he won the Freedom 50 as well earlier this year. So
3 special events in 1 year, that would be something that Keegan Thompson can do it here tonight on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, but Louis Ankela, he's got a good, strong run this inside lane here, looking to challenge DJ Reed and Braden Perez, but not going to get it right here. Next time by will be halfway through the Christmas Eve 500 for 2020, and DJ Reed continuing to lead this field in the number 42. But Braden Perez holding on strong here, and DJ Reed is not pulling away like Quentin Moore did earlier on. Quentin Moore is still in this thing on that outside lane behind DJ Reed, but he's kind of stuck there right now, so he really can't get to the front. So So we'll have to see if he can find his way back to the front anytime soon. Dan Kayla had a really strong run there, and he may be able to get a nose to the inside for the race lead, and he will. Not sure if he's going to have a good run on the inside this time around. That outside lane gets a much better run off of turn 4 than the inside lane does, and DJ Reed's going to hold on halfway through the Christmas Eve 500 at Daytona.
And the interesting thing is that there's 4 NIRA drivers on that top side right now with DJ Reed, Quinton Moore, Stephen Coleman, and Noah Clifton. So my question is that since we're halfway through this race, will these guys start working with the quote-unquote teammates, or are they just gonna race it out and go for the win? Because they still have 29 laps left, and it might not be a bad idea to work with the quote-unquote teammates for now. But
yeah, we'll have to see. I don't really think anyone's going to be working with each other here. They're all going to be going for that race lead, because they got to figure out how to do it before they get the opportunity to do it. And if you don't know how to do it once you get the opportunity to, you're not going to be able to get the race victory. That's just all there is to it. Top 2 have pulled away right here as they battle for third. Perez going to move to the inside of DJ Reed right there. The 3 guys in particular really strike out here. It's DJ Reed in the 42 machine, Braden Perez in the 11, and the 66 there of Quinton Moore. Obviously had that dominating run earlier on, but Quinton Moore doesn't seem to be rolling as strong this time around. Look at John Andrews. He had a huge head of steam there, and he may lead this lap. I think he did. And we could see something like that at the finish of the race. Just keep that in mind. John Andrews taking it away on lap 32. And that's going to send DJ Reed in the 11 machine of Braden Perez to that outside lane. That was a massive push from John Andrews, and he was able to sneak his way to the inside and steal that race lead away.
That very well could happen on the very last lap. But one thing I'm noticing is that now that we are past halfway, things have turned upside down. Because now the 11 is up front, the 22, the 18, the 6, the 21, the 14. A lot more NOFSRL drivers are trying to take over this race now that we're in the second half of this event. So it's going to be interesting of who can take advantage and who can ultimately set themselves up for that pit stop. I don't know when the second round of pit stops will be, but it will be sometime during the second half of this event.
Yeah, it's going to be soon. They came down lap 20, and I said about a 24-lap fuel run, so I would imagine it's probably going to be around the 44th lap of the race. Lap 44.
No!
Someone with an issue. Ace Garcia.
Ace Garcia.
Oh, man, that's a tough one for Garcia there in the number 6 machine. He just blew up. And this could end up as a caution if he stops on the racing surface, and that would make things a little bit interesting in this race because we're right around that fuel run right there. But I think he should be able to get around, or at least get teleported to the pit lane without bringing a yellow out, hopefully. So tough break there for Ace Garcia. Going to split the pack up. As speaking of splitting the pack up, the leaders have hit lap traffic. Number 11 is the race leader, Braden Perez there. John Andrews is coming here, but they ended up running him to a entire pack of lap down cars, and it is not looking pretty up front right now.
Things have just been upside down in one whole lap. First, Ace Garcia went kaboom, and on the very same lap, we caught up to a gigantic pack of lap traffic. That's how fast things can change here at Daytona in just a matter of half lap to one lap. Things just got flipped upside down. And now this path that we had about 18 to 20 drivers is no more. Now it's all single file here at Daytona, and they're still trying to get past some of these lap down cars.
Yeah, it seems like every race it just gets worse for these guys. As Ace Garcia on the pit lane after he blew up. Such a tough break for Ace Garcia. It's been a rough week for him, I know that much, and I really hate to see that from Ace Garcia right there. But how about John Andrews to the inside of Braden Perez, and now they're the only two really up front in this race. You know, John Andrews definitely seems to be a strong contender for this race victory at this point. And let's see once this pack gets formed back up again, which it will right here. You got Stephen Colin in the 88 machine, on that outside lane trying to get around the 20 machine of Crown Jr., who was involved in that accident. And Noah Clifton as well still stuck behind him. 13 is really the only driver, I think, that really got held up and may lose the draft. That was Nathan Smith, and Smith is... he's still hanging on in the draft of the 20. He may be able to stay in the lead draft here for this event. Of course, you got to keep in mind pit stops as well. The main thing is you want to be in the lead pack once the cycle of pit stops begins. Because if you are, you got a good shot at winning the race. John Andrews at the inside of Braden Perez. They're the two guys up front right now. 43 of Ethan Farley, or should I say Lewis Ankela, my apologies right there. I'm still getting used to the driver's list, and we use it for one race. Ethan Farley's in the 48 machine. He's out of the race as they are coming down the pit lane. Apologize for getting my names mixed up right there. But John Andrews, first to come down with the 88. Now, I don't particularly know if coming down early is what you want to do. And this is going to really get interesting because that was about 19 laps that those guys had. Those guys who just came down may not be able to make it to the end of the race here. It's not a 24 lap, it's about a 21 lap fuel run here. And we got 21 laps to go, actually 22 laps to go when they cross the line right there. So this is going to get interesting in the fuel run, no doubt about it. We got some guys who are really storming right into these guys, but thankfully no contact made. They're going to come around right here with 21 laps to go with the number 11 machine of Braden Perez. Number 43 coming down of Lewis Ankela. And it's a mess back in here. Some of these guys going way faster. The closing rate is unbelievable here at this racetrack, and it's definitely going to be a factor in this race, especially if a couple guys get into each other. That will definitely affect the outcome of this event, especially if that happens during green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that they pitted right with 20 to 22 laps to go, and depending on how long the fuel window is, they might have to pit with just maybe 1 to 2, maybe 3 laps left in this race. And if that ends up being the case, then they might want to start saving a little bit. But I don't know how we're supposed to save at Daytona. So this could be a fuel mileage race to the end here at Daytona.
It definitely could. Now, I think these guys who just came down the pit lane, Keegan Thompson, one of them. And up ahead, the 42 of DJ Reed. Those two guys in particular should be able to make it to the end of the race. But at the same point, they were able to make it 21 laps with a few caution laps in there. So it's going to be close for these guys. That's all I'm going to say. And these guys may want a caution to come out here at Daytona. Once it all cycles through, we got the 43 of Lewis Ankela out front right here, with the 11 machine right behind them. They just got around the 18 of Keegan Thompson, and we made it with a 5-car pack for this race lead. 47 also in this lead battle, and that's Dale Lightning. Have to see if these guys close back into the top 5, but right now, these top 5 drivers looking like the ones to beat here at Daytona. Number 43, Lewis Ankela, Braden Perez. 21 of Bobby Fraser in third. Then John Andrews on the 14 of Aiden McCrow. That's the top 5 here on lap number 42 of 60 here at Daytona.
An interesting top 5. We saw the 43, the 11, and the 22 for most of the second half of the race. But Bobby Fraser and the number 14, we have not seen that much at all. But they are moving after pit stops. But my question is this: where is Keegan Thompson and where is DJ Reed? Because they were the last two that pitted, and now I don't know where they are at on the racetrack.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for these top 5 guys. It'll cycle out right here as they complete lap number 42 of the event. It's Ankela, the race leader, in the number 43. Bobby Fraser is now second. John Andrews is going to take third away from the 11 of Braden Perez, and then Aiden McCrow is in fifth. Then, 4 seconds behind is Dale Lightning. 5.5 seconds behind is Stephen Cullen and Keegan Thompson. Quinn Moore, who was the dominant guy earlier on in this race, in this pack, Now, what I think is going to happen is these 5 guys are going to close in with these 3 guys. They're going to form a slightly bigger pack than the one up front, and they should be able to close in time. We'll have to see if that does happen. Of course, lap traffic is also going to be a factor in this one. These 5 guys in a single file line right now, so they're going as fast as they possibly can and entering turn number 3 right now, number 10, while these guys are still in turn 2. So it's going to be a little while before they run into lap traffic, but they will run into lap traffic at some point throughout this race if it stays green. Bobby Fraser to the inside of Lewis Ankela for the race lead. John Andrews behind him, and Fraser going to take it away on lap 44.
These top 5 guys, they'll have to deal with lap traffic first before anyone else does. And lap traffic will ultimately determine of who wins this race, but how about Bobby Fraser? Not had the best of season in the Red Bull Cup Series. I don't know of how he did it on more side of things this year, but what a way for Bobby Fraser if he could end 2020 with a bang here tonight at Daytona. And same can be said for anyone of these guys in the top 5, especially in that number 14, trying to win in his first career start.
Second career start, actually. McCrow was in the Thanksgiving 500 as well, so we'll have to see if McCrow can have a shot at it. In that number 14, Zankale going to move back to the inside of Fraser right there for the race lead, and it seems like these guys aren't having any difficulty passing right now. These guys, they're 7 seconds off now. So this is going to be interesting. These guys are going double wide. When these guys have had a lot of single file racing, and because of that single file, they're able to whip right through this racetrack very quickly. And we're just going to have to see if that second pack does close into these top 5 at all in this race, because if they don't, these top 5 guys are going to have the opportunity after race victory, given they have enough fuel, because it's going to be a big one there at the end of the race, because they came down, some of these guys came down with 22 laps to go, and their last pit stop was on lap number 20, so they're right on the edge right here. It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down.
I think it might come down to fuel strategy if we don't get a random caution late in the going. Now, if we do get a random caution for whatever reason, that would fix these guys' problems with fuel saving. But if this does go caution-free like it tends to do once we get pit stops in this race, then it could be problematic with 3 laps to go. But right now, these guys don't care. Braden Perez wants to take the race lead away, but we are about to catch up to a bunch of lap traffic right now.
Yeah, this could be the saving grace for that second pack here, especially if that 96 and 32 slow these guys down enough. Lewis Ankela still behind the 32 machine of Brandon Beal. And now the 11 stuck behind the 10 machine of Angel Olvera. Mitchell Collins holding these guys up, and Allison Rain, who was one of those guys who were up front earlier on in this race. She's going to go 2 laps down right here. They're also going to close in the Trey Smith ahead of them, and they have still yet to get around the 96 of Mitchell Collins to finally find a hole right there. The 21 machine and the 22, Fraser and Andrews, then Zankela, McCrow, and the 11 of Perez. They're all going to get out of them. So no issue right there between those guys. Collins almost came in on the 11 machine. They're all going to get around Trey Smith just fine. Next guy in line is the number 9 machine of Landon Smith Jr., and then Matt Tuck a little bit farther ahead as well. I don't know if Tuck has a little bit of damage there in the number 19 machine. Got Preston, and you got the number 20 machine as well in that mix. And we'll see. They closed in. They gained 3 seconds right there when they got stuck behind those slow cars. And Stephen Cullen leading this pack with the 66 machine as well of Quentin Moore, DJ Reed. Of course, DJ Reed and Quentin Moore were a couple of guys who were dominant early on in this race. And now you got Bobby Fraser leading the field of John Andrews with 11 laps to go in the Christmas Eve 500. Have to see when they close in here to the 9 of Landon Smith Jr., but right now these 5 guys are still all in contention for this race win.
And I think it will be down to these top 5, depending on how that second pack gets around those lap traffic cars that these top 5 has to get through. If they get past them with no problem whatsoever, then they might be able to catch up in time. But if they get held up, like what happened to the lead Pat, then that's probably going to take them out of contention for this race win.
So it's the 21 and the 22. Bobby Frazier and John Andrews are both on Team NOFSRL, but Frazier's more of an NRA guy here, so let's see what he can do. But John Andrews is the most experienced guy of these group of drivers up front, and the 21 did not get around the 9 correctly, and that's going to hold him up a little bit. John Andrews, Braden, Perez also getting jammed up. That's going to help McCrow out a little bit. He's going to go up to 4th, and here comes the 43 machine of Zankala. So they're going to get around the 9 machine just fine. Matt Tuck's next guy in line here, number 19. Going to be 9 laps to go next time by for Bobby Frazier. They should be able to get around the 19 okay, but Frazier did not get around the 9 well, and he had a lot of space to get around him as well, so we'll have to see what happens right here. He's going to have to hit the brakes just a little bit. That second pack also got stuck behind the large pack earlier, and they lost a little bit of that time, or quite a bit of that time that they gained, but they're now only about 6 seconds off the race leaders. I just don't know if they're going to have any opportunities. John Andrews gets stuck behind Matt Tuck, but they're all going to stay in the pack here. So that's what really counts at this point. There's still plenty of time for all 5 of these guys to take this race win away. McCrow in at the inside of the 11 of Braden Perez. He may have an opportunity at the race lead on Frazier here. He's going to have some help from Zankala. And McCrow, the only guy of this top 5, I should say, that have yet to lead a lap in this race. McCrow is going to try to lead lap 52, and he is going to do so.
Right now, I think it could come down to either John Andrews or Bobby Frazier, and the reason why I say that is just look at Colton Young when he went back to back years in 2017 and 2018. He drove for 18 Penske Ford. The 22 and 21 are technically both Team Penske. The 21 with alliance with Team Penske. So I think Team Penske might just have this race figured out. And that's why I think Andrews and Frazier will probably be the 2 guys to battle for this race win. But I know this 43 is looking strong. So is the 14 and the 11. So any one of these top 5 can easily get the job done in the 2020 Christmas Eve 500.
They definitely can. No doubt about it. And we're just going to have to see which one of those 5 can get it. Now, of course, fuel's still going to be an issue here. Remember, John Andrews was the first guy to come down of this group. I think it was him. I think Bobby Frazier may have also come down with him as well, possibly. Can't quite remember who John Andrews came down with, but watch out for Andrews, because if anyone's going to come down, he's going to be the first one to come down, because he came in earlier than everybody else. So we're going to have to see if he does come down before the end of this race, or if these guys will have enough fuel to make it to the end. Frazier to the inside of McCrow, but McCrow back out front in the 14, with now 7 laps to go on the Christmas Eve 500. 6 laps to go, I should say, here at Daytona.
6 laps to go at Daytona. Can these guys save enough fuel to make it? I don't know, but this 14 car looking awfully strong out front. Will there be a minimal lap cars in the way, though, for these last 5.5 laps? That's the big question. If so, that can ultimately determine if who wins. Oh boy, this could be interesting. Adding fuel strategy with lap traffic. Oh boy.
This is going to be interesting. No doubt about it. They keep on shuffling for the race lead as well, so even if it isn't an issue with fuel in this one, these guys are going to battle out to the end. So I think regardless, we're going to have some drama here at Daytona with now 5 laps to go in the 2020 Christmas Eve 500. Point of no return. So if a caution comes out now, that'll be it for the race. And I think these guys would like to see that caution, because fuel is probably going to be an issue for some of these guys. If the caution comes out now, they don't have to worry about it. And McCrow would love to see that caution, because he's leading this race here at Daytona. Coming to 4 laps to go. Looking for his first career Napa fan win and only his 2nd career start. We'll have to see if he can hold him off. 4 to go at Daytona in the Christmas Eve 500.
Can he do it? We just have to wait and see. Braden Perez, he's moving his way back up to the front in his 5-car lead pack. He's been very strong all race long. But he will get to the inside up to 14. But can he get by with 3.5 laps to go at Daytona? Can they have enough fuel to make it as well?
McCrow holding on the outside. The 11 machine of Braden Perez, though, with some help there from Bobby Frazier as they move to the inside of the 14. They're still staying out, and 3 laps to go next time by in the Christmas Eve 500. So we'll have to see. Still a good chance these guys can make it to the end. If they make it to 2 laps to go, I think there's going to be someone who can make it to the end. Because you got to remember, John Anderson was the first to come down right there. The rest of them came down afterwards. They're all going to get around the 32 cleanly, as they may end up 3 wide for the race lead. McCrow on the outside, had to check up a little bit. Frazier trying to move to the inside. That's going to open the door for John Andrews to split the middle here. And Andrews may be able to get an advantage here on the outside lane. Frazier's coming down.
Oh, no.
So is Perez and John Andrews. And now, who knows who's going to win this race? It could be somebody from this pack right here.
Oh, my.
There's a close one right there between Colin and Thompson. 2 laps to go for McCrow, but I don't know if he's going to have enough fuel to make it. Such a heartbreaker for Frazier and Andrews. Zankala going to move to the inside. It's going to be the white flag next time by here at Daytona. Who's going to have enough fuel to make it to the end? Fuel mileage drama here in the Christmas Eve 500 at Daytona. 43 of Zankala leading, coming to the white flag, but will he have to come down with 1 lap to go? Zankala's going to stay out, so will McCrow. So these guys are looking to battle it out for the race win. Will anybody else back in here come down? Quentin Moore's going to do so, but it looks like he's going to be the only one. So here's the battle for the win. Zankala and McCrow, both looking for their first career Napa fan wins here tonight in the Christmas Eve 500. McCrow right behind the 43. Will he move to the inside and steal this away? This is his only opportunity to do so. Is he going to make the move? He's still behind the 43. Louis Zankala holding off, but here comes McCrow. He's going to try to make it to the inside for the race lead. Side by side, coming to the checkered flag here at Daytona. It's going to be the number 43 of Louis Zankala, holding them off to get his first career Napa fan win in the 2020 Christmas Eve 500.
Wow. Louis Zankala, I'm sorry if I butchered the name, but what a race, gets the job done. He was able to stretch it with late race pit stops, late race fuel strategy, and the 43 wins again at Daytona. And not to brag or anything, but now Dane NIRA has won this event 2 years in a row. But that's not really the big picture. The big picture is for Louis Zankala winning the 2020 Christmas Eve 500 in a wild turn of events.
Yeah, such a tough break for Bobby Frazier, John Andrews. Both of those guys had a huge opportunity of winning this race, but could not hold the fuel. That caution, I mean, I think we would have had that kind of fuel mileage race regardless. That caution didn't come out at the right time for him, and such a tough break for all those guys. And I think, because of that wreck was probably partly caused because of the fuel mileage. Or should I say, of someone coming down the pit lane in that large pack. But either way, Louis Zankala gets it done. That is one of the closest finishes of the year on Napa Fan. If anything, that may be the second closest finish of the year on Napa Fan. Right here in the penultimate race of the year on Napa Fan. Louis Zankala gets it ahead of Aiden McCrow. DJ Reed rounding out the podium. None of those guys have ever won before on Napa Fan. The Noah Clifton and Keegan Thompson, the top 5. Take a look at the rest of the results right there. We had a lot of issues. Obviously, that big accident that came out there on lap number 20. But wild race here on Christmas Eve and the Christmas Eve 500. And wild as it always is here at Daytona. Your thoughts on that one, Nathan? What a race here, especially for Louis Zankala getting his first ever Napa Fan win here tonight.
That was a wild one, from it being dominated by Quentin Moore for the first 15, 17 laps, and then having a massive big wreck on that number 18, took out a bunch of drivers, and then all the added drama in one lap of lap cars and Ace Garcia going kaboom, and then the fuel strategy late, and for Louis Zankala able to stretch it when some other people couldn't. I think only like 10, 8, 7, not many people, less than 10 people were able to stretch it all the way to the end. A wild race here at Daytona, always is for the Christmas Eve 500. And what a year. And what a way to end 2020. And what a Christmas Eve 500 here at Daytona.
Yeah, definitely a unique race, and fuel mileage came into play there right at the end. But Lewis and Kelly able to hold that off and get his first career Napa Fan win. Of course, Nathan says the last race of 2020. That's for NIRA. We do have one more race tomorrow here on Napa Fan. That is the Intuit QuickBooks 200 at Armory Digital for the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Still got 4 races left to go over there, and very interesting championship battle. And that'll be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on AG Racing. But either way, I think that's going to do it for us here tonight from Daytona. So have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and yeah, be safe out there as well. That's all I got to say. Have a good one. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, too. 2021's coming, guys. We're almost there. And thank you guys so much for watching, as always, here on AG Racing. And huge thanks to Nathan Stapleton for calling the race with me. Huge thanks to the NIRA as well for doing this joint event for the second straight year. Go ahead and check out Nathan's channel, the NIRA, and all the great stuff they do over there in that league. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Lewis and Kale on getting his first career Napa Fan win. And Merry Christmas. That's all I gotta say. Thank you guys once again, and I will see you guys later.
See you guys.